Human Services. Price has been fighting to replace the Affordable Care Act for years, introducing bills in every Congress since Obamacare was introduced in 2009. Price saying about his nomination, quote, "There is much work to be done to ensure we have a health care system that works for patients, families, and doctors, that leads the world in the cure and prevention of illness, and that is based on sensible rules to protect the well-being of the country while embracing its innovative spirit." But some top Democrats already slamming the pick. Senator Chuck Schumer saying, quote, "Congressman Price has proven to be far out of the mainstream of what Americans want when it comes to Medicare, the Affordable Care Act, and Planned Parenthood. Thanks to those three programs, millions of Americans, senior families, people with disabilities, and women have access to quality, affordable health care." His nomination is akin to asking the fox to guard the henhouse. This all comes as new Gallup survey finds Obamacare remains unpopular. 53% of Americans say they disapprove of the law, and 43% say they want major changes implemented. 37% want it repealed and replaced. These are big numbers. I don't know what Chuck Schumer is reading. 53% of the country disapproves of Obamacare. In my home state of Arizona, premiums were well above 100% for many Americans. I mean, is Tom Price the guy to help us repeal it?
Oh, hallelujah. Tom Price is helping you. It's a major plank of the Republican platform. Of course, it's one of the first things, if not the first thing, that the Congress is going to do is repeal and replace Obamacare. We're going to get that in the House and get it over to the Senate as swiftly as possible. And I hope by the time the president is sworn in, he actually has something right there on his desk that he can sign, because there are millions of people that are suffering through this. You're right, Arizona, the premiums doubled. In our own household, our premiums have gone up, the deductibles have gone up, we get less choice. And Tom Price understands this. He's a wonderful, patriotic human being, an orthopedic surgeon for decades. He's the chairman of the Budget Committee, and as somebody that I've known personally now for years, I got to tell you, he's just a rock-solid human being. So I sent him a text message last night and said, "I'm going to pretend I actually know you." And he sent this quick text back, said thanks, and I just thrilled for him. He's really just a great person.
What do you think the reality is, though, that Obamacare will be repealed? It's a main platform Donald Trump has ran on, important to so many Americans.
It's going to happen. People like Chuck Schumer and others are going to try to slow it down and then blame Republicans for, their inaction. But there is a mandate from the people. It is something that Donald Trump committed to, and I'm sure he's going to follow through on. Part of our Better Way program that we said in the House of Representatives, we all ran on this, and we won on it. So, of course, we're going to do it.
Go ahead.
No, he has some very specific points, too, on how to deal with this, because, of course, the devil is always in the details and these kind of things. And when you're looking at the plan that he put together in particular, talking about giving people refundable age-adjusted tax credits in order, rather than being in these exchanges that are collapsing under their own weight, where insurance companies are bailing because they're losing money on it and they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to make money instead. He's talking about giving people tax credits to go out and buy their own insurance.
Instead of the government subsidies.
Yeah, and also if you're on Medicare and Medicaid, that you can also take tax credits and opt out of that and go buy private policies. I mean, he has some interesting practical solutions.
We focus so much on Obamacare, obviously, given the impact that it's had on everybody's health insurance. But Tom Price is also going to be overseeing Medicare, which, by the way, is going bankrupt in less than 12 years, when it will be paying out 87 cents on the dollar in benefits. He's got to tackle that. He's got to tackle an FDA that is overwhelmed. He has to tackle drug prices that are skyrocketing.
That's a lot.
If Hillary Clinton had won, she wants the government to negotiate drug prices for Medicare. She wants to cap drug prices. He's got to get his arms all around that, too. Can he do it?
Oh, absolutely. If there's one person that I believe in that could do it, it's this doctor, this orthopedic surgeon who is come to Congress. He's the chairman of the Budget Committee because he's wicked smart and he understands numbers. So he's got the right balance between the two.
Ultimately, though, if you get the government out of health care, even in a small way, it means saying no to somebody. It means saying no to somebody who's in Medicare potentially. Like, you can't have everything at the cost of the taxpayers who are still working.
Let me make this point, though, and respectfully, Congressman, when we talk about repealing and replacing Obamacare, I understand that that's what you guys ran and won on, right? But semantically, I'm sitting over here kind of looking on the outside, like, this is interesting to me, because we know President-elect Trump has said that he intends to keep at least two components of the Affordable Care Act, the staying on your parents' insurance until you're 26, and, of course, opposed to pre-existing condition. So when I listen to the statement from Senator Price, Representative Price rather, I'm almost like, who would disagree with that? So one way to look at it, I guess, is repealing it and replacing it. Maybe that's indeed what happens. But another way for those that are not so interested in that mandate, so to speak, we just want something that works, whatever that is. Perhaps there's another way to look at it around improving upon in many important ways. I think you said 43% of Americans want to see that. So that's just another way to look at it.
We got to drive down prices, and we got to make it work for people so they have access.
Sure.
And I think Tom Price can do that.
And minimize the disruptions, because it's a very personal thing, your health care. Meantime, President Obama planning a flurry of last-minute executive action